to Dad AF for allowing me to come on and have a chat with you guys tonight. To give you a little rundown, my name's Brett. I run Strong Dad, which is a hybrid strongman strength and conditioning session aimed primarily at dads. Not just dads, but we sort of started off just training a couple of dads in the park, and it's kind of grown into quite a sort of big kind of team from there. Based in Hertford, in Hertfordshire. My background in terms of training, strength and conditioning, accredited strength and conditioning coach. I've trained high-level athletes and everyone from sort of kids to old age pensioners essentially. Particularly on the strength and conditioning aspect of side of things, that's where my basis lays. I've owned several gyms over the years. I was out of the gym game for a long time. I sold my gyms about sort of 5 years ago when I started to have kids. You have kids, don't you? My wife fell pregnant with twins, and there was a lot of complications. So I decided that it was a good time to sell, my shares in my gyms and get out and do something slightly different. So I now work full-time in property, but also work full-time in Strong Dad as well. So we're building a franchise Strong Dad fitness movement, essentially, just because we think that there's not really much out there for dads in particular, and as Dad AF have proved, it's there's a group of guys out there that need that sense of community. So while I think Dad AF are doing a fantastic job of providing the online community, we try and kind of get people moving, get them in a physical setting, and create a physical community as well. So go hand in hand. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. Obviously, unprecedented times. Being in lockdown, obviously very, very testing in terms of you guys sort of looking after your families, yourselves, your mental, and trying to keep the physical health in check as well. So if you've got any questions for me or anything you want to ask, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll be just waffling along, setting the world to rights for 30 minutes. So what do you guys want to know? I'll kind of start off with what we're doing with our Strong Dads, and that might kind of get things moving. We obviously, because we are a group training system, and it's modified strongman training. There was a lot of physical contact, a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of equipment swapping when we were training. So we actually called time on that slightly before the government called time for us, called time on gyms. We decided that it wasn't ethically correct to carry on. So we said, look guys, families at home, got to go and do your own thing. But don't worry, we'll do lots of things online. We do lots of things through our Facebook and Instagram posts. We have a members WhatsApp group, which is quite active, and we post general workouts. We've also created like an equipment library for our members to use, so they can come and swap bits of kit in between each other. We make sure that we kind of make sure it's all safe and sound when they do that. And we provided some PDFs which are like 30, I think it's like 30 workouts in there with no equipment. So if you haven't got anything and you're basically working in what I call like a phone box workout, then you've got that as a resource as well, which I said I'd share with the guys at Dad AF as well for you guys to take and use if you need it. So any questions on training? Any questions? Tell me what you're doing right now. Are you doing anything? Where does it start? Are you managing to get out? Are you running? Are you struggling because you're not at the gym? What does the gym give to you, kind of, physically, emotionally, psychologically? I know it's a big part of people's lives, so it certainly is for the Strong Dad, guys. Hello Aidan, mate, how you doing? Good to see you on. That's good. Good. So how am I managing not to snack constantly? Funny enough, I've actually I've trimmed up since we've been in lockdown. I think you have to have some form of discipline, and we've got to realise that if we are in this for the long term, we need to get our kind of our stoic mindset right, and say, you know what, we're first and foremost we've got to look after everybody else, and being dads, we've got to look after the kids and the partner, whether that the wife, the husband, whoever it might be, and go or just the partner, and go, you know what, I've got to dig this in, and getting majorly out of shape, majorly fat is probably not a good idea. So couple of rules I tend to follow. If you have got time to food prep, but I used to be that guy before I had kids to go, you've got to food prep, you've got to kind of prepare everything, you've got to do this, that and the other. And then I was in for a rude awakening when I had kids, and I realised that that's one of the first things at the time. I don't know what I did before I had kids time-wise. But just trying to make better choices, I think, is what's important. Just trying to make better choices and keep that mindset in line as well. It is easy to reach for the snacks, especially in this sort of time. But Trev, struggling with back workouts while at home. What would you recommend? Back workouts. You could do the classic sort of like plank Superman, where you would lay and you would arch your back up. I don't know what kit you've got, Trevor, if you've got any kit. You've got to remember things like squats, straight leg deadlifts. You don't necessarily have to deadlift the bar to work your back. You could fill up a rucksack full of tins of beans and move that around a little bit. If you do enough of them, that's going to kind of build a bit of muscular endurance there. When you say back as well, think of it more of like a sort of overall sort of, I hate the word core really because it's bastardised and overused, but core and musculature. So work everything around that as well. Work the supporting muscles. Also think about your glutes, mate. So lots of one-legged bridges. I don't know anyone, that won't feel it after a good set of sort of single leg bridges with a little bit of resistance. Maybe put one of the kids on your lap or something and try and do a set there. Turn it into a bit of a game, while you're at home. And I think mobilise as well, Trev, so make sure your mobility is good. Do a couple of stretches, do a couple of movements. If you send me a DM at the end, I'm happy to send you over a PDF or something that might help. Like I said, I've got 30 workouts which work the whole body anyway, so you can have them at the end, mate, if you send me a DM. One of the things I struggled with is confidence to get in the gym or along to SD when I felt pretty weak. Yeah, a lot of people. James, I'll come back to you in a sec, mate. A lot of people do lack the confidence to make the first step to get in the gym or to get down to strong dad. I can understand that. It can be, any kind of anything new can be a pretty intimidating environment sometimes. But to use the old adage, it's kind of like, it's kind of like saying, I'm going to get better before I go and see my doctor. It's a bad analogy right now, actually. It's probably better you did do that. But the principle being, the best place to, the best time to start was 10 years ago, and the next best time to start is now. So, you've got to kind of think about what you really want, think about your goal, and think about how you're going to get there. And chances are, the best way to get somewhere slightly quicker than if you were to do it yourself would be to go and see a professional. So it doesn't have to be strong dad, but sooner or later you are going to have to take that leap. And I guarantee, most places are pretty cool. And, I think if you're just honest and open with people, you'll understand and they'll help you out. So get yourself down to a good gym, be open and honest, or, pop down and see us at Strong Dad, or just do some of our online stuff, get in the community and get heard. James, do you do any sort of training with your kids whilst you're in lockdown? My kids, I've got 2 twin boys, they're 3 years old, and they're also autistic. So it can be quite difficult, actually. It can be very difficult. Sometimes they get quite freaked out when I'm training. I posted a video recently of my son on my shoulders while I was doing some deadlifts, which is a bit of a showy-offy thing. It was more for the strong dad guys, But carries, carries are a massive, part of our training in strong dad, and should be a massive part of anyone's training here. you know, I don't need to tell you what the carryover is because you're doing it every day anyway. But, you know, carries will work the legs, glutes, back. That's another one for you, Trev. Weight carries. So on your shoulder, going for a walk, squats, lunges. I mean, I like to put Jude across my back, you know, like in a fireman's carry, and he really likes that. He kind of plays that quite well, and I can do some lunges, some squats. Get the kids involved where you can. I know a lot of strong dad guys are doing press-up challenges with their kids. You know, don't be too militant with it. Just play around with it, because it, you know, you're setting the example for them. You're getting a double whammy. You know, you're getting a bit of a workout, but you're also setting a future example for your kids. And I think, you know, we'd all agree that's really important. You know, and the value of a long, you know, weighted walk, for example. You know, put the kids on your shoulders, put them on the back of the bike, whatever it is, and get outside, get some fresh air. Good for them, good for you. And, you know, no one ever got less fit by carrying more weight. So, you know, strap it to your back and get moving. Weighted hill carry is always a good one. You know, kid on your back, up and down a hill a few times, you know, keep them sweet. Aiden. No, we've done that one. Trev. Great advice, mate. Didn't think about squats or deadlifts with rucksacks. Yeah, you know, I mean, kettlebell swings, mate. If you've got a decent rucksack, I mean, kettlebell swings or rucksack swings, whatever, you know. We tend to think, I mean, even like bags for life these days, you know, you fill up 2 bags for life with like a load of tins of beans, and then you start doing some, you know, some sort of, I mean, it's more accessory stuff, so some lateral raises, some front raises, that sort of thing. But, I mean, resistance is resistance, mate. You know, we can all go out and buy, you know, £100 dumbbells or whatever, but, you know, quite honestly, there's stuff you can use around the house. You know, yeah, nothing. I mean, your kids' resistance. So, you know, throw them about, carry them around. It's, you know, it is what it is. There's that classic picture, isn't there? You know, of you know, the dads always get the picture from the back of them carrying the baby out of the maternity ward. And I've got one where I've obviously, you know, got 2. I don't know how you do it with triplets, but, you know, whatever. But I've got one where you've got 2, and it's like, well, that's a farmer's walk, you know, and you're going to be doing that for the next, you know, year or whatever. So, you know, yeah, carries are great. Yeah, think about that. Try that. I think a lot of people struggle with confidence, and you know, my big thing when I had the kids was like my back strength went. For someone that had always been pretty fit and trained pretty hard, my back was in bits, and I think it's because you're taken out of your natural movement pattern. So, you know, I found that you know, putting them in the car, I was always getting back out. You know, leaning over the car, I was always getting back problems. I know. I think Aiden, you're probably feeling it now, brother. With, you know, obviously your little one, you know, constantly over the cot. Aiden's a tall guy as well, you know, so, you know, ergonomically he's not really designed to be leaning over things and kind of getting in small crevices. He's a big lad, so yeah, you've got to make sure that mobility's there and that strength is in different planes. And that comes down to it as well, Trev. Sorry to go back to you, mate, but it's a really good question about the back strength. Make sure you're working your back strength in different planes. So not just up and down, but think about left and right, side to side. So think about cable wood chops. Think about maybe what you can do if you've got maybe a sledgehammer in the shed. You can do some good sort of core sort of mobilizers. You know, hit a tire, or just some of the old club bell style exercises. They're good ones as well. You know, very simple to do. Don't need any expensive kit. You can pretty much do that. I don't know if you can pick this up on the mic. Can you hear what's going on upstairs? One of my children is either they've got an elephant up there or they're just banging around. I don't know what's going on. I think they're kicking the shy out of the room up there. Bedtime's going to be a good one tonight, by the looks of things. My wife's dealing with it, but yeah, there we are. So yeah, any other questions, guys? I mean, if you're struggling for equipment, or you're struggling for kind of ideas, you know, body weight is the usual one. Yeah, yeah, great. Body weight's the usual one, but you know, think about, you know, sandbags, things like that. I like training with sandbags. You can still get some home deliveries from Wix and stuff. To make a sandbag, you need like a bin liner, essentially a bag of 2 pound sand and a couple of Hessian sacks, maybe some cable ties to tie it up to make it secure if you want. That costs you about £6. And with £6 you can do all sorts, moving, running with some sandbags. We do a lot of sandbag work at Strong Dad. Throws, lifts, carries, deadlifts, lunges, squats, zercher hold, so literally just physically holding the bag for an intense period of time will get good kind of muscle strength and muscular endurance in your arms and shoulders. Turkish get-ups as well. That's a great one with the kids, actually. I might try that with one of the boys tomorrow and maybe post a video. Turkish get-up, so just holding them, getting flat down on the floor and then getting up to your feet. Good for biceps. I don't have any weights, using a dining room chair at the moment. Fill up two bags for life with a load of cans and just keep adding cans. And you could do your standard, gym bicep curls, concentration curls, whatever. Pull-ups if you've got anything to hang off. Personally, I'm not like I wouldn't think of it so much. Try and train movements, not muscles, as opposed to don't just think I really want to work my biceps or something. Just think if I can do pull-ups, then your biceps are going to be pretty strong. They're going to be pretty big. So try and think about it like that. Rows, obviously, again, just not by the scruff of the neck, but even holding the little ends, giving a few curls or a few rows with them to kind of make them giggle. You'll soon feel that after a few reps. But I think classically, it's so obvious. It's so obvious when you're told, filling up a couple of bags for life, because I've got about 1 million here. So if you ever want any, come round, fill them up with some standard stuff and just go for some high rep curls work. Yeah, cheers, Paul. Thanks, mate. Try my best. I've got to go in the garden, actually, train later. So I've got my garden set up, done. I haven't got a garage in my house, unfortunately. I've only got a shed, so everything I do is outside. So I'm waiting for the summer nights to come in, because it's still a touch cold in the evenings. But do what you got to do. I think we've covered everything so far. Any other questions, guys? I'll post that PDF. It's quite a good one. Cardio, yeah. I mean, the cardio I'm doing at the minute is hill sprints for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm lucky enough to be quite close to a hill. Number two, in terms of using high intensity interval training, so hill sprints, I can get a good cardio burn without having to go out for an hour, 45 minutes or anything. I can get that done in 10 minutes. Do every minute on the minute hill sprints, which I posted the other day into our Instagram group. That's 10 minutes of work. Oh, all right, you've got to get to the hill and get back, but you can get that done in about 15, 20 minutes max, and that's going to kind of give you a good gas tank all the way through. Lots of research will tell you that a way to get your cardiovascular fitness up is obviously the long steady state stuff you can, but doing high intensity interval training, something like every minute on the minute, or 1 minute on, 1 minute off, or something like, I don't know, probably not even 1 minute, but like 30 seconds on, 2 minutes off or something. If you're doing a real flat out, high intense sprint, always good to do. You can even do that in the home. So again, like I call the phone box workout. So the idea being that if you were stuck in a phone box, could you get a workout done? Well, there's things you can do like sprinting on the spot. We do a lot of high knee work at Strong Dad. Light jogging. Then some fast sprints on the spot. Hit the press ups quick. Hit the squats quick. Get your cardio in that way if you can't physically get out of the house. It's a classic sort of babysitter's workout. If the partner's out, you can't sort of leave the house or even leave the room sometimes. So you can do some on the spot stuff like that, but just keep the intensity high when you're doing that. Try not to go too slow. Make sure that your high intensity training, the key in high intensity training is high intensity, and that's what most people leave out. It just turns into some kind of like slow steady state stuff, which not really what you want. 100 push-up a day challenge was great, and you can see good improvement even after a few days. Yeah, I mean, you know, in terms of keeping your sanity and keeping your mates on board, just set yourself and everyone else challenges. I think it comes down to the snacking thing as well. We go right back to how are you not snacking every day. I said at the start of the year, you know, I want to be in the best shape. And I'll put it out to our community, like I want to be in the best shape of my life by the end of the year. And if you make bold statements and you tell people and you keep accountability with your friends and with your family, and you know, talk to everyone in the family and tell them why it's important to you, you know, you can often stay on track that way. And the same thing with the 100 press-ups. If you make you sign a verbal contract, you know, or even a physical one, say, you know, I'm going to do 100 press-ups a day. That's the simplest thing you can do, and it will improve your overall fitness. It'll improve your upper body strength, of course. It'll improve your muscular endurance, of course. It will improve your core strength and your back strength, of course, if it's done properly, which I'm sure you will be doing it properly. It's, you know, it literally is. It's a desert island workout, isn't it? It's one of those things you take and you go, okay, you know, you take everything away, but you can always do push-ups. I just about manage 20 to 30 a day. That's the idea though, James, mate, you know, you're supposed to build up to it. You know, if you did 100 straight off, it's probably not, you know, you probably don't need the 100 push-up challenge. The idea behind the 100 push-up challenge, by the way, just to give you a background, so James, maybe you can try this, is 100 throughout the course of a day. So, you know, you might do sort of 10 lots of 10, you might do 20 in the morning, 20 at lunch, 20 at tea time, 20 before you go to bed, whatever. Well, that's only 80, but you get my gist, 25 maybe. And the idea is you do that throughout the day. And as Chris said, you know, you will see rapidly that actually, because it's a movement that your body becomes accustomed to as well, like swimming, for example, the more swimming you do, the faster you'll get. Now, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll suddenly become a brilliant swimmer in a short space of time. You just become more accustomed to the movement. So you have to just train the movement as well, and you'll get better. You know, probably just because you're not that used to it. You know, and obviously the obvious thing to say here as well, if you can bring your strength to weight ratio down, or if you can lose a little bit of the body fat, then, you know, you've got less to push off the ground. So, you know, you're going to do a few more as well. Yeah. But start with 20 to 30 a day. I mean, that's better than none a day, right? You know, just build up to there. I mean, if you build up to 40, you know, you're 100% better. So, you know, you've got to look at it that way and go, well, okay, you know, if you're 100% better in anything in a few days, in a few weeks' time, then Chris, it's a dreadful idea, mate. Why'd you do that? Yeah, you could do something like Flower, which is the Moby song, Bring Sally Up, as they call it. It's an old, I think CrossFit did it first, or one of the American CrossFit did it. We took it, we did it for push-ups with the guys, and I haven't seen it. It was doing the rounds years ago on YouTube, and everyone was sort of doing different stuff, and it kind of died off as all these sort of fads do. And I brought it back quite recently because I thought, oh yeah, that's good. Forgot about that. But the idea is you play the Moby song Flower, and when it sings Bring Sally Up, you know, you'll go up in your squat. When it says Bring Sally Down, you go down in your squat, and you'll find that he says that a lot in that song. It's like has anyone done the Roxanne drinking game? So when you play Roxanne by the Police, you know, Sting and the Police, and every time it says Roxanne, you do a push-up, and then if it says red light, do something else. When are you shaving your head for the NHS? I don't know, is that a thing? Probably soon, to be fair, because my hair is getting ridiculous. I mean, this is like, it does, to be fair, the light's doing it justice, but I was grey anyway, ammo 23. I'm going greyer, and quite honestly, I'm going to need a recession beater in a while, mate. So yeah, I might take you up on that. I actually work quite closely with the NHS as well, so I've been pretty busy during the day, sort of housing, you know, helping to house nurses and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty mad out there at the minute. Pretty busy. I have had a shaved head once back in the day, but yeah, I don't think I've got the right shaped head for it. The ears are too big. Cauliflower ears. Anything else we can do? Is there any more general stuff, like stuff you want to talk about after you get out of quarantine? Anything programming wise? Any questions generally about your strength and conditioning? I think you need to look to the future as well. You know, we're not going to be here forever. So, you know, I think at the moment, you know, we've got a hashtag emerge stronger, and I think that's a really good mindset to have and a really good goal to have. But you know, there's nothing wrong with maintenance as well, and you know, I think you should set your goal to emerge stronger. And if you come out of maintenance, you've done better than I think a lot of people will do. I think this whole process is going to send, you know, most people one or two ways. They're either going to get, you know, massively overweight and, you know, have some real kind of issues, or they're going to kind of reignite their love of what it feels to be fit and strong. And I'm hoping most people go that way, you know, hoping most people go fit and strong. But you never know, it's stressful time, tough for kids as well. How's the best way to set a progressive program for a gym? It's a really good question. So, I mean, it depends on what kit you've got. You know, we talk barbells, kettlebells, dumbbells, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The principles are still the same though. So, you know, you can, if you're kind of maxing out your lifts, well, what you're training for first and foremost. If it's strength and you're maxing out your lifts, say, let's just say you've got 100 kilos worth of weight, right, and you're practicing deadlift. Now, you know, pretty soon, probably most guys are going to be able to get up to 100 kilos, and it'll be like, okay, this really isn't, it's not testing anymore. I'm kind of doing, you know, 10 to maybe even 15 reps of 100 kilos, and it's kind of like, it's hard, it's not okay. So you can play around with the tempo. So i.e. the speed at which you do the lift, so you can lift slower to kind of put more sort of tension on the muscle. So time under tension is a good way to develop your strength, and also muscle size as well in terms of aggression. Think about your recovery phase. So, you know, if you're resting 2 minutes, drop it down to 1. Quite simply, you can just increase the volume. So if you're struggling with you know, weights in terms of what you've got, then always, you know, a simple one is to increase the volume. Progression, you know, I would take it slow. You know, there's no need to rush it in. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to feel like an eternity. But actually, 3 months in terms of training, that's a really, really small time scale. You know. If it's kind of like cardiovascular fitness, then again increase the volume. So how much you do, increase the intensity, increase the time you're doing it for, decrease rest. You know, all these are kind of variables that you can play around with to increase the kind of the kickback of the work you're doing. And also, you know, think about the mechanical variable of how you're doing something. So, you know. What's the one? Everyone will get bench press, right? So everyone knows how to bench press, but you know, you've got bench press, you've got decline bench press, you've got incline bench press. You can do bench press from the floor. You can do, you know, offset bench press. You know, so like it's a bit dangerous one, but like slightly more weight each side, so it kind of, you know, tests you in a different way. You can do, you know, pause lifts. You could do tempo lifts. There's a million ways in which, a million variables you can play around with, as strong dads will tell you, you know, that you can kind of have a think about. But that's a really good question. I might do something on that, because, you know, people might just look and go, well, I've only got like one dumbbell, you know, you know, and I've done a few presses and that's not really that hard. So how can I make it harder? There's more than one way to skin a cat. You can build strength with no equipment as well, you know. Try some, you know, my favourite one, like tempo push-ups. So try like, you know, we all know someone who can do 100 push-ups or bang, or maybe we do, maybe we don't. But you've all got that one mate who's just really, really strong and fit or whatever. So the equaliser for someone like that is to do maybe raise them up and then do tempo push-ups. So maybe like 2 seconds down, pause 2 seconds, 2 seconds up. Do a set of 10 of them, very, very different to a set of 10 standard push-ups. Everyone is going to feel that. They're really going to feel that, and you're going to feel the strength, you're going to feel the muscles grow from that. So, does that help, Amo? Does that I kind of went on a bit of a tangent there, but there's loads of different variables we can play with, mate. Again, if you're struggling, send me what you've got, and I'll kind of give you some ideas. But we can really work it, Cool. Thanks, Gary. Cheers, mate. I don't know if you can hear that. What the hell is that going on in the background there? I don't know what's going on up there. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to do some deadlifts tonight, maybe have a glass of wine. That's not ideal nutrition by any stretch of imagination, by the way. It's terrible. Don't drink after training. Always give it 48 hours if you can. Diet plans. Struggle with calories and what to eat and not to eat. Okay. We actually did a nutrition Q&A last night, which is really, really helpful. You can check that out. It's been recorded on our Facebook page, so if anyone wants to go and talk that, and we talk a lot about calories and whatnot. I think, what gets measured gets bettered, or whatever that phrase is. So make sure you're measuring what you eat in terms of using maybe a calorie tracker or something like that for, a little while or the foreseeable, just to keep an eye on, what you're taking in. In terms of what to eat and what not to eat, again, it's difficult because obviously everyone's got different metabolisms, different lifestyles, different goals as well. So all these variables are huge and kind of sway across. But I would say I don't think anyone could do with not kind of having a reasonably high protein diet. I think that's good for recovery. I think as we get older as well, and obviously the stresses of fatherhood, having slightly more protein in the diet than perhaps we were previously taking in is better. Cut down the refined sugars and make sure you're getting your good 5 a day. I like to think of 5 a day as 5 greens a day as well, if you can, really, as opposed to too many sort of high fructose stuff. It is easy to get quite a lot of sugar in with fruit. Sunny Delight or whatever it is, that's not one of our 5 a day. So you get what you measure. Yeah, that's true, Scott. That is true. Yeah, you do. And that really came through in the nutrition chat that we had last night, which again is on the Facebook page. So if you do want to go and check it out, and maybe we'll post a link for the Dad AF guys, you can go and have a listen to that, because I think it was really good. It was by a nutritionist that I trained with back in the day, and he really breaks it down nicely, really, really simplified. So yeah, you've got to measure what you're doing. Nutrition and training, really. Always keep a training diet, always keep a food diet if you can. I know it's difficult with kids, but these days, to be fair, with the whole My Fitness Pal scans barcodes and stuff, so it's literally done. I know how many calories are in that. I know how many calories are in that. I know how many calories in that. Pretty much all of us have got smartphones, so that's a way to sort of take it forward. But again, if you want to know more about that, check out the webinar. Good. Anything else, guys? What bits of equipment have you got? What kit have you got? And I'll give you some ideas on what you can do. I'll fire off a few workouts off the top of my head, because I've got a bank full of stuff. Even if it's none, you just say it's none. I haven't got anything. What have you got? What have you got in the shed or propping up the door, or what's currently being used as a doorstop in your house? Or a clothes horse is a classic one, isn't it? Nothing. Yeah, that's fine. Do 100 press-ups, 100 squats in your own time. Break it down as many times as you want. Half rack, ollie bar, hex bar, DBs, assault. Mate, you got a whole gym. What are you talking about? Ammo. I'd kill for that. That's fantastic. Do love a trap bar as well, or hex bar, whichever you want to call it. Good bit of kit, you know. Straight leg deadlifts with a hex bar, really, really good, by the way. Yeah, much easier on the back. You can get a little bit more weight on there. Obviously, because the hex is on the side of you. So try those. Try some straight leg Romanian deadlifts with a hex bar. The other good one I like with a hex bar is lunges. If you flip it over, you can do some decent lunges with that. You know, and like I say, you can do anything you want to get strong, but it's got to be squat. My wife's 5 kg kettlebell. That's it. Bottom up press, Chris. Yeah. So where most people let the kettlebell sit here, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to flip it and you're going to hold it with the bottom up, yeah? So that really tenses like the wrist strength and the tensile strength, and then do super slow presses. So super slow presses, bottom up presses. That's harder than it sounds, even with 5 kilos, you know? So you could do that, and if you want to get even harder than that, bottom up press, right? And then do Turkish get up. Try that without the kettlebell sliding either side. Check that out for a cheeky workout. Dumbbells and a step. I won't say the obvious one. But yeah, dumbbells, great bit of kit. You know, I like man makers, you know, so kind of like push up, then renegade row, then up, then shoulder press, then squats, lunges. You can do a complex of exercises in one go. So you're kind of getting a little bit of strength work in there, but also getting that sort of cardiovascular fitness in as well. I used to turn it into a high intensity interval, you know, program, you know, some sort of man makers or whatever. Depending on how heavy they are, you know, carries are always good. Weighted carries as well are another one, you know, so instead of having the kettlebell, dumbbell, whatever it is, you know, by your side as you would if you're doing like a standard farmer's walk, get it up over your head, you know, like a waiter. So I don't know who the hell carries anything up there, but you get the idea. Like the idea is being up nice and high. Assault bike, that's a bit of kit. Mate, that's scary. I used to be a professional fighter. He used to get us on that assault bike, man. I used to hate it. I also have COVID. Yeah, listen, a few of the strong dads have got it, or you know, we think, having spoken to them, it just take it easy, mate. Take it easy, get over it, come back stronger, you know. So don't you know, be careful out there, mate. Don't, you know, that assault bike's still going to be there when you get back, mate. So, you know, your primary thing is to isolate now and get better, brother. Yeah, we're all pulling for you. Nothing for me, furniture around the house. Good one for furniture. Leg exercise, great leg exercise, Bulgarian split squat. So that's where you have your foot raised up on a piece of furniture. So you're sort of in a lunge position, but one leg is raised up. So you're doing lunges, but with a leg behind you, the back leg raised. And again, just carry whatever, your kids, your you know, get your partner on your shoulders or whatever if she hasn't gone nuts and left. You know, again, bags of shopping, whatever, rucksack, do some Bulgarian split squats. They will kill your quads like you wouldn't believe. They're a great leg exercise. If you want to be sadistic, do some Bulgarian split squat jumps as well. So we used to do that with our athletes back in the day. Wouldn't really recommend it for some, you know, if you're not quite an experienced sort of, you know, lifter or trainer. But if you want to burn them legs, then yeah, I tell you what, we might add that one into some stuff because that's a good one to do. Just vibing as well, yeah. Bulgarian split squats, mate. Yeah, Bulgarian split squats. If you do pistol squats as well, so depending on how heavy the dumbbells are, depending on how strong you are, pistol squats are one-legged squats. The step as well I like. I've got zero hip flexibility and a load of knee injuries, so I find pistol squats nigh on impossible, to be honest. But what I can do is stand up on quite a high box and just drop down, and it's hard to explain. Maybe I'll demo it, but it's a little bit easier on the knee, a little bit easier on the mobility to do it that way. Get your feet up on the sofa and do some push-ups, do some squat jumps, whatever. dumbbells and kettlebells. You can't go wrong with those really. There's an awful lot you can do with a pair of dumbbells or a pair of kettlebells, or even just one really. Quite honestly, is stretching important? Oh, good question. Do you want the political answer, or do you want my answer? I'll give you my answer. No, stretching is dead. Most of the research now, the last time I kind of had a serious in-depth research saying that static stretching, no. Mobility and mobile stretching, definitely. So again, train the movements, not the muscles as such. So static stretching is dead, is what I should have said. Mobilising and moving through various ranges of motion, which is what we do at Strong Dad actually, rather than kind of get the guys, standing around just doing static stretches, which A is boring and B, no one really concentrates or doesn't it. We get them doing animal movements, so a lot of crawls, a lot of kind of bear crawls, lizard movements, hip mobility exercises, taking some stuff from sort of yoga patterns and things like that, and adding them into your training. Does stretching help with muscle growth? There's a tough one. Haven't looked at the research in a while. I believe there's some efficacy in it, but I'm not entirely sure is the short answer. I would have to go back and look. I think it does. I think there's a small. I don't think it's set in stone though. I think there's a couple of studies out there that say if you stretch, you will sort of enhance your muscle growth. But quite honestly, in terms of in a pyramid of does it help, muscle growth, if you like, it's going to be like this at the top. Down here is going to be like strength training and calories in and protein intake and all these other things, and up here at the top is going to be stretching essentially. So for me personally, no. Might say that's controversial. You see, I can't even do my shoelaces up or something, I'd say. But it's an interesting question. Does it help with muscle growth? No. Short answer, no. Long answer, possibly. I don't like the. A lot of people say the word strength when they talk about yoga, and other forms like that. And I haven't got a problem with yoga. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great for people. It will improve. Strength is the ability to produce force, right? So does yoga or resist forces as well? Does yoga make you stronger? No. In my opinion, it improves your ability to resist a bit of force, but only in certain positions. You can have the best yoga person in the world. They ain't lifting. What is strong? Like they ain't lifting 200, 500 kilo deadlift like the world's strongest man. That's strength. Albeit the flip side of that is, I wouldn't necessarily expect, one of the world's strongest men to be able to get into a certain yoga pose and stand on their hands and twist their body around. So it's all relative to what you're trying to do. If that makes sense. Went off on a bit of a tangent there. I've got a thing with stretching. Mobility is a better word. Mobility is a better thing to concentrate on. Anything else, guys? I suppose if all you've got is furniture around the house, you can lift some furniture. I've still got to go under the sofa and get all the kids' toys out. There's a treasure trove of stuff rattling about under that sofa. What are the best goals to reach for? Strong Dad is what Strong Dad is. So strength is the best goal to reach for. Strength and sorry, something just cropped up there. So strength and health, I think, are the two things that I'd be looking for. I think if you're strong, you can do anything. improving your strength, your ability to produce and resist forces will improve. Even if you're a long distance runner, it will improve your running. It will improve your resistance of forces, your resistance to injury. It will allow you to push, pull, lift, drag, whatever. It will do those things. So I think if your goal is to get stronger, to improve your strength, then the likelihood is from that pinnacle, you can go wherever you want. You can improve performance, you can improve health, you can, go for something very much more specific, like, improve my 5K time, whatever. I think, and obviously I'm coming from my position. I don't hide my position. I think strength is the base of everything. Without strength, you can't do anything. You can't, it's the strength within you that allows you to breathe. You take that strength away, and you're not alive. So strength is the number one thing for me that you kind of like settle your kind of external stuff around. Strength and health, longevity, that sort of thing. Yeah, hope that makes sense. I think Chris was going to say something about dumbbells, but I think he's gone. The only reason we don't use a lot of dumbbells in Strong Dad is because it's hard to like add them up, isn't it? It's hard to add the weight up. They're not the most space efficient bit of kit. Whereas a kettlebell for me is slightly better because you can just do a little bit more dynamic stuff with it. But if you've got space for a rack of dumbbells, then nothing wrong with a rack of dumbbells. You can still do a hell of a lot with a rack of dumbbells. Just need a bigger shed or a garage gym. I need Ammo's garage gym. Sounds like a right pancake, that one. Anything else, guys? Anything you've done pre-lockdown that you wanna ask me about? Favourite piece of kit under £100. You can make a Hessian sandbag for about £5. I mean that's the best bit of that's the cheapest bit of kit probably. I'm trying to think now, like what have we got this. And most of the kit that I've got, except for weight plates and barbells, most of the kit I've got is under £100. One thing I will say, if you do buy gym kit, if you're buying weight, remember you are just buying metal. So it doesn't need to, the difference between, a £70 plate and a £15 one is, minuscule. It's just marketing. So, never pay too much money and buy stuff second hand, because at the end of the day, again, it might be a bit rusty and a bit ugly, but it is just weight. So, I would, I think sandbags are really, really cheap and easily accessible bit of kit that you can use, and they're so adaptable to sort of any situation. They're so kind of versatile. When squatting, what's your opinion on lifting shoes or heels, ramps, weights under your heels? If you're serious, then yeah, you're gonna need some shoes. If you're getting serious and you're hitting the sort of 2 times body weight plus kind of groups, then yeah, you're going to need some lifting shoes. Heel ramps, it's a difficult one, that, isn't it? Because I think to be honest, you're treating the symptom and not the cause there. So I think heel ramps, are good, but if you couple that with some good ankle, mobility, then eventually you can take those heel ramps away and just wear your shoes. Depends again. It's a good. It's a cheeky question. I was trying to catch me out. It's a good one, because it's like what you're actually training for. If you're training to be, like I don't know, hit a 300 kilo back squat or something, then yeah, get your shoes on and don't worry too much about you need to concentrate on your mobility, but your goal is probably to quickly to get to that heavy squat, right? Rather than, I want to improve my ankle flexibility. No one goes onto the beach to then go, oh God, look at that guy's ankle flexibility. Isn't that amazing? They're going to go, look at the size of that guy's fucking legs. So I get that. And maybe they won't. I don't know. I always think guys do that to me, but they probably don't. You know what I mean? So it's about what you're trying to achieve and what you're kind of willing to kind of balance out to get there as well. But definitely with the shoes, mate, are either required, especially for mobility in the lift. After breaking my ankle, I don't have much flexibility. Okay. So if there's a pre-existing there, mate, then yeah, but I mean, you've got to try and work that mobility, pal, because you don't want anything coming back. Go. Feel free to use heel ramps and shoes, mate. Get yourself a decent pair of shoes. If you're lifting seriously heavy, but used to play footy, mate. Footy's dreadful for injuries. Tore my ACL, partially tore my ACL doing football. Terrible game. Got less injuries fighting professionally than I ever got flipping playing Sunday League football. Are either required, especially for mobility in the lift? Well, no, they're not required because your mobility will come from your ankles, mate. But if you've got a pre-existing, if you've broken it and it's tightened up, you're going to have to work extra hard on that mobility. So again, I would try and work on your mobility and your plantar and dorsiflexion. So, sorry, just for those, your up and down of your ankle, right? Your mobility there, maybe some massage on the underside of your foot, and get some decent lifting shoes as well, Like 3X Metcon. I presume they're like a cross training CrossFit style shoe. No, again, I wouldn't know. Again, depend. I mean, look, heavy's a relative term. Don't forget, heavy's relative to all of us. So, one man's 100 is another man's 500. I'm sure the powerlifters look at me and will go, silly numbers, but other guys will look at me and go, oh, big numbers, and then there's guys, next to them going, flipping hell, they're doing big numbers. So it's all relative, it's all relative to where your strength is at. As long as you're pushing forward and you're lifting heavy for what you are, and you're generally lifting heavy for what your level is at that time, then yeah, it is what it is. So maybe look at something like Do-Wins, mate, which are a Chinese brand, topical, Chinese brand but they've always been decent. You can get fancy Nike ones and stuff. I've got some Nike lifters, but I never use them, to be honest, mate. I always end up going barefoot, so forget them to take to the gym, or I just can't be bothered because they're so flipping clumpy and massive. For those that don't know, a proper weightlifting shoe is like a wooden bottom, so it's almost like a clog. So they don't move, they don't bend, and they're usually flipping massive. So getting them in a gym bag is a nightmare. Cool. Okay, well, I said I'd do half an hour, and we've done about 50 minutes. So if there's one or two more questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, I'm going to log off, guys, and go and do a bit in the garden. Got me thinking about heavy squats now. Maybe I'll do some heavy squats. All right. Okay. Well, hopefully that helped. Like I say, go and feel free to check out our Instagram page at StrongDadHartford. Check out our website strongdad.co.uk. Get involved. Use the hashtag #EmergeStronger. And if you need anything from me, just hit me up on DadAF. I think they're doing some great stuff. We're happy to be part of the community. So thanks, guys, for having me. And yeah, thank you very much. Enjoyed it. And anything you need from us, just give us a shout. We'll speak soon. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.